Did you know your credit card points and miles can lose value to inflation? Credit card companies often reduce the redemption value of your points and miles. Now, imagine a credit card with rewards that can grow in value. With the Gemini credit card, you can earn Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos instantly with no annual fee. Every swipe at the store or gas pump earns you instant rewards deposited straight to your account. Plus, sign up now for a $200 Bitcoin bonus to kickstart your rewards. Visit Gemini.com/card today. Check out the link in the description for more information on rates and fees. Again, if you're looking to invest in Bitcoin but don't know where to start, the Gemini credit card makes it easy.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
This hour sponsored by Better. Better Picks, a daily fantasy sports app where your sports knowledge turns into real cash fast. Download Better. Visit better.app now. Sign up today. Get free money and no deposit necessary. Better.app.
All right, a lot to get to in a very busy weekend of sports betting and horse racing as well. The Breeders' Cup this weekend, which we'll get to coming up in about 15 minutes as VSiN host Mike Somich joins the program now. Podcast comes out twice a week. It's called Sharp Money, but he also does VSiN at the Track as well, which is a great watch on YouTube. Mike, good afternoon. Thanks for the time as always, pal. How are you today?
Doing great. We are off and running at Del Mar. Breeders' Cup starts. The Breeders' Cup races start in about 45 minutes. That's when we see the best horses in the world at every level, over every condition, get to run. So can't wait to get that going. We got a good NFL weekend as well. We got a lot of fun things to bet. Didn't even mention the World Series tonight, which is obviously Game 6, a huge game for both Toronto and Los Angeles.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So we'll begin NFL here. Again, we were talking about this first segment, like where are the stops coming from by this putrid Steelers defense, right, against an elite Colts offense. Now, I get their competition, but they've done this now every single week, and they compare favorably to some of the best teams in the last 25 years going back when you look at any advanced metric that you want on offense, talking about the Colts here. What do you want to do with this game as they're favored by 3 points?
Yeah, pretty amazing Colts offense right now. They have the most points per drive of any team this century. That includes the 2007 Patriots right now. So just a phenomenally efficient offense here for the Colts. This is the third week in a row I'm betting against the Steelers. I took the Bengals on Thursday night 2 weeks ago. I loved the Packers last week. I love the Colts this week. I realize it's Johnny Square side here, laying the 3. It's moved to 3.5 now in some places. Shop around, see if you can still get the 3. I do still like the Colts at 3.5. This is a situation where the Colts offense should be able to move the ball through the air, on the ground, however they want, against a Steelers defense that just is not generating the pressure that we consistently saw from them during the heyday of this defense. If you're not creating the pressure, you're not getting the turnovers. If you're not getting the turnovers, the Steelers voodoo doesn't really work. And on the other side, you watch the Steelers offense, and if they're in third and anything longer than 8, it's just immediately off the field. They have to check it down. They're not able to stretch the field deep. And while I do think this Colts defense is gettable, and that'll be a problem for them later in the year, I don't think this is the game where it comes out. I'm happy to lay it with the Colts this week.
Okay, we just saw how bad that Bengals defense was last week as the Jets go for 500 yards. The Bears are 7-0 ATS in the first quarter. They didn't go over their team total for the first time last week, but left a lot of plays and points out there against the Ravens. What do you want to do as they had a players-only meeting the other day? What do you want to do? Cincinnati I'm talking about, but Bears team total against Cincinnati.
I love me some player-only meeting. It doesn't change the talent on the field, and it's not an effort issue here for Cincinnati. It's just they're not good at defense. They've got too many holes across the board. Trey Henderson with the hip, not expected to play. That means there's going to be absolutely no pass rush, again, for a Bengals team that is going to face a Bears offense. Well, I don't love Caleb Williams, and I don't love the fact that he is inaccurate still here in his second year in the NFL. He doesn't need to be overly accurate when you get 3-4 yards of separation. And I think that's what we're going to see down the field for a lot of these wide receivers. Because of Flacco's status, we've seen the total dip down a little bit in this game. That's given me an opportunity to go in and take Bears team total over. You can find it at 23.5. I would be very surprised if the Bears don't put up 24 on Sunday against this Bengals offense or Bengals defense. You mentioned it, great in the first quarter, scripted plays, they've been phenomenal. I think the Bears start out fast, and I think their defense gives some up, which forces them to continue pushing on the offensive side of the ball. I'll go ahead and take the unit I want to pick on here in the Bengals defense and assume they're not going to do well. Give me Bears team total over 23.5.
Very good. Let's hit another team total here, and we'll look at the Denver-Houston game. There has to be spots coming up based on the competition to fade Houston, right? And this offense, I'm looking right now, Mike, at ESPN's like pass block win rate numbers. They are 28th pass block win rate overall and 32nd overall with run block win rate. Is this one of those games where you want to fade the offense somehow?
Yeah, it is. Look, this is interesting because we saw sharp money come in on Houston last week. They covered against San Francisco. We're seeing sharp money come in this week. It flipped Houston from a 1.5-point dog to a 2.5-point favorite in some places. We've also seen the total tick up. This was a 38.5 open. We're up to 40 now because of the move to the over and because of the flipping favorite here with Houston now favored. You can get a very good price on their team total under. And it's interesting to hear the narrative around this Houston team because people are talking about how, well, their pass blocking is improved. 2 of the last 3 weeks, they've been great. Okay, you got Baltimore, who had nobody on the defensive side, and a San Francisco team that has one of the worst pass rush win rates in the NFL. Smack dab in the middle with Seattle. And if I remember that game correctly, CJ Stroud was under duress 100% of the time. Now you've got Denver coming in here, which is one of, if not the best pass rushing teams in the NFL. They're going to create a lot of havoc here for CJ Stroud. I understand Surtain not going to be in the lineup here for Denver, but it doesn't really matter who's playing cornerback if CJ Stroud doesn't have any time to throw. I think this Houston offense struggles. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball efficiently. I think it's going to be incredibly choppy through the air. And again, because we've seen the total tick up, because we've seen them flip to favorites, you can now get under 20.5 on the team total that was 19.5 earlier this week. Let's take the Texans team total under 20.5.
Big total, big spread here with Green Bay and Carolina. You mentioned being chalky and square, but you're 12-2 ATS going back here, betting the big favorites. What do you think of the total in this game? Is Bryce Young's going to go? We know how bad his road record is. He did beat the Jets, but they didn't move the ball in that game. What do you think of Green Bay, Carolina?
I think the key to Carolina's success here is, can they run the football? We've seen them have success offensively when the ground game is going. It opens up their ability to then pass the football. I don't see them having a lot of success against this Green Bay run defense. If that's the case, all of a sudden you're seeing yourself in 2nd and long, 3rd and long situations. That's where this Panthers offense really sputters, especially against a pass rush that should cause trouble for Bryce Young all day on that side. You flip over to Green Bay. Look, I love this offense when they're actually trying. It doesn't seem like they're trying for full games at this point. You're getting these spurts where the offense is great, and then you're getting these longer stretches where they're just absolutely stagnant, like the first half against the Steelers last week. They're going to want to run the football against Carolina. Carolina actually been much better against the run than I think most people projected this year after being a bottom 5 team last year against the run. I think this is a game where you want to look toward the under. We saw similar situations where Green Bay was happy to play these kind of sleepy games and just allow their defense to control the pace of the game. I think that's the same game plan here. I don't think Green Bay is going to hang a 30 spot on Carolina, and I think Carolina struggles to score in this spot. Let's take the under 44.5, which is still readily available out there in the market.
All right, now I'm intrigued by this as well. You actually found and isolated a Packers receiver that you want to ladder. I find this borderline impossible, but I want to hear why you like Christian Watson.
Well, Christian Watson came back from an ACL last week, and he was clearly the target that you want downfield. Right now, it's Dobbs, Watson, and Golden, and they've been talking about trying to get Golden more involved. And while I agree that they're going to look for ways to get him going, it still feels like Love's best relationship with his wide receivers is to Christian Watson. And I want to take advantage of this. Well, Christian Watson's being priced basically like a wide receiver 2B, almost a wide receiver 3 in some markets. His total out there in receiving yards this week is 36.5. That is wildly low for what I consider to be the number one wide receiver on this offensive unit. And like I said, I think the Packers struggle running the football. That means if they're going to move it, they're going to move it through the air. You know you're going to get at least one, if not 2 or 3 shots down the field toward Christian Watson's direction. Let's say he hauls in one of those. He's already over this. If he is then the possession receiver or gets 2 of them, he flies over ladders, and you can get big plus money prices because of how low this receiving total is. So let's take over 36.5 receiving yards. Let's go 60 plus at plus 265, and let's go 80 plus here at plus 610 for Christian Watson on the Packers.
All right, very good. One more prop here. It's Kelsey, and you want to ride his kind of hot streak right now with the Chiefs?
I think he is the main beneficiary of Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, because all of a sudden, teams that could key on Kelsey no longer can do so. You now have a legitimate wide receiver one who can move the chains in Rice. You've got a legitimate deep threat in Worthy. On top of that, you've got Smith-Schuster, you've got Thornton, you've got Marquise Brown. You've got all of these different pieces that are stretching the field on the outside, and it forces you to put resources away from the tight end position. Because of that, we've seen Kelsey and Gray, both of their tight ends, be able to get loose and get separation. Look, Kelsey's not fast enough to devote two specific defenders to. So in a lot of situations, when you're trying to roll coverage to Rice, when you're trying to roll coverage to Worthy, it's Kelsey who ends up open and is able to make plays off of that. His receiving yards total sitting at 44.5 this week against the Bills. I do think this is a higher scoring game. I do think that Kansas City needs to have success through the air, especially with Pacheco out, to be successful in this game. And I think that means Kelsey has an opportunity to have one of those bigger games of his. So let's go over the 44.5 reception yard prop for Travis Kelce.
90 seconds. Sell me on this one. Giants unders at home have been an ATM for years. All the injuries now that they have on offense, and it's Mac Jones again for the Niners. Total of 48. Why do you like the over?
Because these are two teams without a pass rush. And this is a Niners offense that I think is going to be able to execute against a Giants team that can't stop the run, struggles in the secondary, and we've not seen live up to what we expected preseason rushing the passer. You flip it around to the other side. San Francisco, again, one of the worst teams when rushing the passer. I understand we're missing Scatterville, no Neighbors, but Dart's going to have all day to throw, and that means that you're going to get receivers open downfield at some point. I like the Giants offense as constructed if they're able to protect Dart. I do think they're going to protect Dart in this spot. If you protect Dart and you have San Francisco moving it on the ground or through the air, 48's a little bit too low. We saw this at 48.5, 49 earlier this week. We've seen some under money come in. Once we hit the key number of 48, I like going back against that move and going to the over.
Very good. Mike Somich, our guest, he's going to hang out for one more segment. Of course, it is the weekend for the Breeders' Cup. Before we get into that, by the way, we're talking about our characters today. By the way, Pauly, Squid Games, for people who don't know. Mm-hmm. Some people were chiming in on Twitter, didn't recognize the outfit. But I was correct. Randy Quaid was drinking a Meisterbrow.
Good job.
During this RV scene on Christmas Vacation. Have either of you guys ever had a Meisterbrow?
No, but my Uncle Buck, used to drink it. It was cheap in high school. He'd get after it.
Your uncle was drinking
Yes.
it, so it was probably $2 a case, $3 a case.
Yeah.
Mike, cheapest beer you've ever had?
Ooh, man. God, the little hand grenades, Mickey's.
Oh,
I guess
Mickey's,
that's more
beautiful.
liquor.
There we go.
But
Good answer.
I did love me some Mickey's.
Yeah, who didn't? Somich is going to continue. He loves the ponies. His betting approach for the Breeders' Cup next.
Are you interested in effortlessly growing your Bitcoin portfolio? I sure am. The Bitcoin credit card by Gemini earns you Bitcoin back on every purchase. Use it like any credit card. Buy lunch, gas, or your weekly groceries, and you'll earn up to 4% back instantly in Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos straight to your account. All that with no annual fee. And right now, you can grab a $200 Bitcoin welcome bonus. It's the easiest way to start building your Bitcoin stack. Go to Gemini.com/card to learn more. Terms apply. See the link in the description for more information regarding rates and fees.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Marching along here on a Friday, VSiN host Mike Somich with us here on the Progressive Guest Line. We did NFL with him in the first segment. If you just missed it, once the podcast is posted, you can always go back and listen to the Follow the Money podcast, wherever you get them, to find out his best bets for the weekend. He also does a couple of other podcasts here with the network, one of which is called VSiN at the Track. We'll have him run that down because races are starting here coming up in just a little bit at Del Mar for the Breeders' Cup this season. Let's begin with this. As Sovereignty was scratched with a fever, overall, your level of disappointment when you heard the news on that horse, Mike?
I mean, 9 out of 10. It's one of those, like, Sovereignty he has had the opportunity, I should say, to have one of the all-time seasons, right? He does not win the Triple Crown, but most likely would have, but has yet to face older horses. He had only run against 3-year-olds, Baeza Journalism, 2 of the very good 3-year-olds that are in this race, and what we thought was a really good crop. it's really disappointing not to see him get to enter this event, because the Breeders' Cup Classic, which is left with 9 horses, and 8 of the 9 are legitimate superstars inside the sport. Contrary thinking, the 4 horse is entered as a rabbit. You'll see 50-1 on the morning line. Do not bet the 4, contrary thinking. He's lost his last 2 races by 80 lengths. His whole sole purpose is to go out and set as fast a pace as possible. The other 8 horses, every time they've passed across the finish line in their last race in the U.S., have run a 100-plus buyer, which is a very, very good number inside of horse racing. We've got Grade 1 winners all over the place, the top 3 from last year's Classic. This was setting up to be the best running of the Breeders' Cup Classic this century.
Wow.
And unfortunately, with the loss of Sovereignty, you really lose your key piece of it, because he was one of those horses that was really pushing the caliber of this race even higher than it already was. I still think it's a phenomenal running of the Classic, but it is missing a little bit without having Sovereignty there. That being said, as a handicapper, it's kind of nice that he scratched out of this race after we found out about the fever on Monday, because it would have been so much more difficult to handicap this race. Is he fully healthy? Are we going to get a flu game effort? Are we going to get the A+ effort, what we come to expect from Sovereignty? Or is he going to fall off a little bit? And are you going to feel dumb for backing him at 6-5 when you knew he had a fever earlier that week? Or are you going to feel dumb for not backing him at 6-5 when you would have if he didn't have the fever earlier that week? So I appreciate it from a handicapping perspective that he's not in this race.
I was reading an article about the top horses to watch here, and one of them is my friend has a piece of Seismic Beauty. What are your thoughts on Seismic Beauty and the chances there, or do you just want to take Darth Vader in that race? And I guess you have to bet that a horse with that name on Halloween, but take it away.
Yeah, good name. This is the 7th race on Saturday, the Breeders' Cup Distaff. Seismic Beauty, your favorite on the morning line at 8-5. Bob Baffert trainee, who is very fast early. And that is the key for Seismic Beauty, being able to get out front, being able to get the lead, and being able to get comfortable. There is a boatload of speed signed on to this race, and that makes her job more difficult. If she can clear the field, get to the first turn first, and get comfortable, I think Seismic Beauty has a huge shot. If she's pressed, all of a sudden, this race is absolutely wide open. I think 2 horses at prices are interesting in here. You mentioned Darth Vader, the 12. She is just a Johnny Tryhard horse. She's not overly talented, but she just keeps running. And I always joke that, at times horse racing becomes stumble bunnies. Everybody is just exhausted at the end of this race. Well, she's kind of the queen of stumble buddies. When everyone gets exhausted, she's the horse that keeps going. So I do like the 12 Darth Vader at the price. I think you got to look at the number 2 in here as well. Sarawak Rim, 12-1 on the morning line. Nacho Correas brought this horse over from Argentina. You're getting Irad Ortiz, the best jockey in America, to jump aboard this horse for a trainer that doesn't take shots and is clearly taking a shot here. So I think the 2 is interesting as well at 12-1. But look, Seismic Beauty should be the favorite. It's just all about that first turn for her. Does she get there clean, and is she getting pressed? If not, she's going to be very tough in this spot.
All right, very good. Let's get on a race that begins the Breeders' Cup coming up at 5:45 post time Eastern time, 2:45 out in San Diego or Del Mar and here on the West Coast. It's the Juvenile Turf Sprint. Do you have a play in this race?
Yeah, look, this is an interesting turf course, because last year we saw horses come from off the pace be very successful in the turf sprint races. You had a major scratch in my mind in the 2 Military Code, who was going to be my top pick at 12-1. So the 2 is now out. So I'm going to pivot here. I like the 11 Schwarzenegger, who is going to be the speed of the speed in this spot to take this field very far. 5-1 on the morning line. I don't have the live odds right now, but I do like Schwarzenegger here. But if you want to bomb, an also eligible drew in here, the number 13 horse, which is now on the board at 20-1, I think is going to be coming from off the pace in this spot. I think that could be beneficiary, especially with all this speed signed on. So I do like the 13 later than planned, 20-1 on the morning line to have a big shot in this race. Interested in the 3 Royal Treatment at 12-1 as well. So I'm going to play exactas with the 11, the 3, and the 13 here in this spot. May have a little 13 win bet as well at a big number.
That's a hell of a breakdown right there.
Yeah.
Okay, to the Classic overall, the number 10. Which horse did you land on?
Yeah, this is the 9th race on Saturday, Breeders' Cup Classic, and I'm going to go with the number 10, Antiquarian here. 10-1 on the morning line. Without Sovereignty in here, every single one of the main competitors has some warts on them. and I want to take a price in these type of situations. Antiquarian, a horse that has gotten better with the last 3 starts, probably should have won the Blame 3 back, but blew the turn, ended up running second in that spot, lost the Suburban to a gate-to-wire winner that had absolutely no pressure, comes back and wins the Jockey Club Gold Cup at Saratoga, going this distance, beat Sierra Leone that day. Now, there was some issues the first time through the stretch, so Sierra Leone didn't get the best trip in there, but Antiquarian just keeps getting better. And in a race that is now absolutely wide open with Sovereignty scratching out, I think I'll take a shot with a price here. Give me Antiquarian at 10-1 on the outside in the Classic, race number 9 on Saturday.
I like it. How about the Turf Sprint, which is the number 4?
Yeah, Turf Sprint here. I'm going to go with the 4-horse Kadeem. This race is also on Saturday, and this is going to be race number, just pulling it up real quick, race number 5 on Saturday. The Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Number 4 Kadeem for me, 10-1 on the morning line. This is a 9-year-old horse who is putting blinkers on for the first time. And blinkers are an apparatus which they put, it's kind of cups on either side of the eyes. If you're watching the video, you can see what it looks like. And it focuses the horse. So Kadeem is a European horse that has run 3 times here in the U.S. The first 2 were at Kentucky Downs, which is a really funky racetrack. The third one was at Keeneland, which is a traditional racetrack with a turn that is similar to Del Mar. Kadeem won that race, but won it while looking at the crowd. He did not focus forward in that race. That's why they are adding blinkers to hopefully make him focus forward. There's a boatload of speed signed up here. He's going to be coming from off the pace. I think we get an improvement with the blinkers on here. Love the 10-1 price in a wide open race. So race number 5 on Saturday, the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Give me number 4, Kadeem at 10-1.
Tell us about Cinderella's Dream at 9-2.
Ooh. My favorite bet of the weekend, saved for the final race of the weekend. So depending on how we're doing, might be a get out spot here for good old Mike Somich. Race number 12, Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf here, and Cinderella's Dream ran in this race last year. She ran second, and in that race, you go back and you watch it. The trip was absolutely atrocious. So she was third at the top of the far turn heading into the stretch. Well, the horses in front of her slowed down and backed up, and you just see this wave of horses go around her. So she gets shuffled all the way back to 8th. She never gets to really stretch her legs and run until the final furlong of that race. She passes everybody except the winner, Moira, that day, runs up into second. She was the favorite at 5-2. If you look at her numbers, she's 10 to 15% better than she was last year. And you're getting a better price this year at 9-2 in a running that I don't think is much more difficult than what she was in last year. I love Cinderella's Dream here, the 9-horse in the 12th race on Saturday at 9-2 on the morning line.
All right. Did we hit the mile yet? I don't think we did.
The Turf Mile.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Turf Mile here. I'm sorry, this is going to be the Dirt Mile. So the Dirt Mile is race number 10 on the Saturday card. This is where you're going to see one of the heavier favorites here in the number 3 horse Nisos. And Nisos is going to go off at probably close to even money. Nisos, a Bob Baffert trained horse, should be able to win this race. Anytime he's been on the track, he has been dominant. The rest of this field, not all that tough. Full Serrano last time did win this race last year, but was able to do so against a much weaker group than what we're facing today. I like Nisos a lot on top, but I don't love the price. So we're going to play an exacta here. Take the number 2 Goal Oriented in second. So a straight 3-2 exacta in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Bob Baffert over Bob Baffert. Goal Oriented should come from off the pace. We should have a very hot pace in this race as well. I think it sets up well for Nisos to win. Goal Oriented run second. So a 3-2 cold exacta in the Breeders' Cup Mile.
Hey, Mike, for people who want more of Breeders' Cup action coverage and bets, tell everybody what they can expect when they go to the podcast, YouTube, find it wherever they listen to the podcast as well. It's called VSiN at the Track.
Yeah, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, over at VSiN Live on YouTube, VSiN at the Track. We did a episode covering all 5 Breeders' Cup races today, an episode covering the last 5 Breeders' Cup races on Saturday. Also have an episode with interviews from the Morning Line odds maker, David Aragona, as well as Chris the Bear Felica, giving all his thoughts on the Breeders' Cup, and a long shots episode as well, where Aaron and I give out our 3 favorite long shots to bet over the weekend. You can find all of that information and more over at VSiN at the Track, wherever you get your podcasts, or at VSiN Live on YouTube.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. Thanks so much for the time. Enjoy the weekend and best of luck.
You got it. Good luck this weekend, guys.
Back at you.
Too.
There you go. Mike Somich, and he was on the Progressive guest line. A lot of action there. And I put in a try box coming up for that race in 20 minutes at the Breeders' Cup. Up next, more Week 9 games, National Football League. How about a 9-0 straight up run and ATS versus the same team since 2021.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get to upset alerts in college football this weekend. A lot of teams have a chance to go down. Meanwhile, Pauly, in the National Football League, the Minnesota Vikings with J.J. McCarthy are playing at the Detroit Lions. And at most books right now on the odds screen, the Lions are an 8.5-point favorite. The total is 48 or 48.5. There might be a 9 out there. Some weird spots have like a 9.5. But this has been total domination one way, all Detroit. How about this? 9-0 straight up and ATS since 2021.
I was shocked I read that. Goff's 9-0 against him as a Lion.
Me too.
ATS, what he's done. Also, the good numbers from Joe Osborne. They're on 11-2 run. ATS off the bye. In their last 2 games off the bye, the last 2 years scored 47 and 41 points. So factor that in, again, with what Morton said about getting the ball to Williams early and often. And he's in the low 40s. So it just, after what the Chargers did and what the Eagles did, I think Detroit's going to go up and down the field on him here.
Minnesota is 4-23 straight up, 8-20 ATS as a divisional road dog since 2010. How bad is that? More on Goff here. 17-6 straight up, 17-5-1 ATS, and divisional games since 2021. He has owned the North. He's the king of the North.
Yeah.
9-3-1 straight up, 11-2 ATS in post-bye week games since 2012 overall for Detroit. And I remember that Dallas game last year because they were dancing all over the start midfield. Mm-hmm. May as well have been.
So are you laying, I don't like to do this, but I mean, the run that these favorites have been on, and even like a teaser possibility, what are you doing with Detroit, Green Bay, and the Rams?
I really want to tease Detroit down. I got smoked on teasers last week, but I have to play them below a field goal. I have to.
Yeah.
Because even if I do and I lose it, I'm going to be okay with that. Because if I play a teaser, or if I don't play a teaser and the Lions win by 3 or more, I'm going to hate myself.
The first week also in 4 weeks, we got 5 totals in the 50s. We have
like
that too. Right.
Last night, too high.
That's right. But again, as I said earlier at the top, the last 14 weeks, favorites of 6 or more are 68-10. Favorites of 8 or more are 26-1 straight up. And then this now 12-2 ATS run going back, best since 1985, and the Ravens get the cheese last night.
I know people hate to admit when they're wrong, but it's something that you have to do in this racket. And clearly the number one team that I was most wrong on before the season is Minnesota. I thought they could win 11, 12 games again. I love the makeup of the team. I thought they were going to be okay with the quarterback position. Welp, dead wrong. And that Cinderella story ended when Sam Darnold moved on to Seattle last year. So I can't make a case for Minnesota in this game. I can't do it. And I know that they have the extended bye or the extended days off as well because they played on Thursday Night Football. I don't care.
Well, who knows what McCarthy's going to look like.
Sure.
That's the big thing. Last time we saw him was horrendous. Couldn't get a first down against Atlanta. I mean, it was comical what happened.
Yeah, another very difficult team for me to figure out is Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I know you can swat this away if you would like. But if I know the NFL like I think I know the NFL, it's a week-to-week league. Atlanta absolutely gives New England a run for the money in this game.
You're damn right. I'm not going to give you the Mutombo there.
Okay.
Wouldn't be surprised. New England's the first team since 1970 not to allow a running back have 50 yards through the first 8 games.
Yeah, that's Bijan under.
Yeah, I know. And they get him in the 60s. I don't know. I mentioned the Pitts angle earlier. 19 targets the last 2 weeks. But we'll see what Penix looks like here. And the health, and if they can protect him, if he has some success, they should have a good offense. And again, we've talked about it many times. You see where they're at in yards, then you see where they're at in scoring. The red zone issues, turnover issues, and just perplexing after what happened, what you watched last night, how they got blown out at home against that same Miami team, and then also got throttled in Carolina. So it's
that's what I'm saying, though.
I mean, are the Patriots going to cover every game? That's another thing, though, too.
Right.
But the run that the Patriots are on, and I think this could be a good thing with Stevenson getting hurt. Now that they have to give Henderson a lot of carries.
We'll find out, right?
He should be the guy. I think Henderson has a good game.
Yeah, I mean, because we have such a problem remembering stuff, to think back, and Atlanta destroyed Minnesota in week 2 on the road, and then they also looked really good against a Buffalo team in prime time. Like, that's already forgotten because they got embarrassed against Carolina, and they're so-so, probably below average. In fact, I would absolutely say they're below average. And then last week, to get embarrassed at home by a really bad Miami team, It doesn't add up. But I would actually be more surprised if Atlanta gets blown out than if they were to win the game overall. Did you now, because of this impressive run, and you brought it up to Somich earlier this hour, with Giants games at home staying under, do you think this total is too high?
I do, yes. But the Niners are 11-1 over off a loss. That incredible stat going back. But to me, this is about 2 guys. And I do think the 49ers win the game. They were so bad against Houston. And it was you saw Kittle and Shanahan apologize after the game. Like, I don't know what that was in the first half. They couldn't get a first down. They didn't have the ball. So now with the season almost on the line here, no Pearsall, no Purdy. McCaffrey has 56 catches on 74 targets. He's 6-1 over his receiving yards prop. I like that over, and I think Robinson cooks for the Giants. I mean, who else are you going to throw to?
Have you heard anything from your Giant source?
No, nothing this week. Not much to say. Not much to add, right?
Probably still in mourning after the Scadaboo injury.
They're devastated with Scadaboo out, and Neighbors finally had their surgery as well. Going to be tough for Dart here, but I think if he'll be able to hit Robinson, and Robinson is high 40s rather, and he missed that by a yard last week. But I think Robinson's in store for a good game and a big game here for the Giants. But I think the 49ers win. I do think the total's too high.
I'll tell you the guy that I have to attack in this game because there's no Pearsall. It's got to be Kendrick Bourne. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing as low as 36.5. We saw him pop for, 150 almost in one of the games earlier this year. He's got that rapport with Mac Jones going back to the Patriots. And as a reminder, again, the Giants are absolutely god-awful in the secondary.
Well, especially against, I thought you were going to go there, too, with the run. I mean, like Somich said, they're Miami bad run defense.
Well, yeah, the defense overall. But to wide receiver number 1 overall in the opposing team, and people can argue that's Juwan Jennings. That's fine. They've allowed 86.2 yards on average per game to that position. 3rd most catches to wide receivers overall. The most yards, in fact, to wide receivers. And wide receiver number 2 for the opposing team has averaged 68.7 yards per game. The Giants have allowed the 8th most catches and yards allowed to wide receiver number 2. So to me, I'm going to be laddering Kendrick Bourne in this game. I think he's going to be the guy, again, because of that chemistry that he has shown so far this year, to kind of backtrack to his days playing in New England. But I want to play, if 36.5 is what I'm looking at right now. I'm willing to play that up to probably 80, maybe even 90 or 100 yards if the numbers are right.
Okay. What do you expect out of Shuck? Anything? I still
Pure
can't.
Pain.
I still can't get over the footage when he was at the combine. He throws like Arch Manning. Where you look at it, and he's got like a giddy up as well.
Sure he does.
So not only is he starting here, Kellen Moore came out and said he's the starter the rest of the season. And then those hideous numbers again, they're the worst team in the first quarter. I'd love to see Rams first quarter here, and McVay all this time to game plan and prep, get ready, and put one on him and put the hurt on him from the get-go.
Hold on, I looked it up right now. I wonder if it's on.
They've been outscored 69-16 in the first quarter.
That's right.
How bad they've been. But I don't
you know
think
what?
It's going to go well for him here in his first start on the road.
I got some alarming numbers here recently on. Here you go. The Rams are 0-4 ATS post-bye week. That was after a 10-3-1 ATS run in the prior 14 games. McVay, 9-15 straight up, 6-16 ATS his last 24 November games. How weird is that?
Yeah, that is.
But they're also taking on, what are the Saints? 2nd, 3rd worst team in the league?
Yeah. What do you think with the Chargers? Another perfect game to tease as well.
Pound them. They take them to Pound Town.
That's right. Pound Town. 24-1 ATS run for the Titans. They failed to cover 11 straight at home. No Ridley again, no Simmons. Ward, most sacked quarterback in the league. McCoy, scared. Hunting the ball 4th and 4 in Colts territory, down 10 as a 15-point dog. I mean, it's just...
I really like Vidal.
Yeah.
The running back for the Chargers.
Gadsden?
Yes.
Got to take him, too.
Yes.
Let's get in there. Think you know sports. It's time to get paid for it. Better Picks, the daily fantasy app where your sports knowledge turns into real cash fast. Download the Better app. Pick more or less on your favorite player's stats, and if your pick hits, you win. New users get free money just for signing up and no deposit required. And when you do deposit, you get a 50% deposit match up to $200. Better has action year-round, NBA, soccer, UFC, golf, and more. Head to better.app or download Better in the app or Google Play Store. And don't forget to use promo code VSiN for your free money and deposit bonus today.
All right, I have numbers right now, first quarter Saints-Rams. FanDuel, Rams minus 2.5, minus 136.
Yes.
DraftKings minus 3.5, even money.
Okay.
I would not want to be laying 3.5 and a quarter, but 2.5.
2.5, yeah. Short money line there, too.
Yeah,
Can do that. There's some shenanigans this week, man. Caesar's really stepping out. Caesar must watch the show. Fairbairn over a half now is minus like 280. They didn't even put 1.5 up. And they put Boswell 2.5 made field goals.
Fun poison. A 7-point home dog is on a 12-1 straight-up run versus tomorrow's opponent. Upset alert next, college football.
Did you know your credit card points and miles can lose value to inflation? Credit card companies often reduce the redemption value of your points and miles. Now, imagine a credit card with rewards that can grow in value. With the Gemini credit card, you can earn Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos instantly with no annual fee. Every swipe at the store or gas pump earns you instant rewards deposited straight to your account. Plus, sign up now for a $200 Bitcoin bonus to kickstart your rewards. Visit Gemini.com/card today. Check out the link in the description for more information on rates and fees. Again, if you're looking to invest in Bitcoin but don't know where to start, the Gemini credit card makes it easy.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Matt Vasgersian on the program. MLB Network coming up in 15 minutes. One last ride with the great Matty V, previewing Game 6 of Blue Jays and Dodgers. Pauly here. Upset alert tomorrow in college football. How about the summer number between Penn State and Ohio State? It was 3.
Oh, man.
How would you like to have that in pocket?
All right, yeah.
And now the Buckeyes laying, as high as 20.5, back to 18.5 in that range. Bloodbath here. You want to lay it with the Buckeyes?
Yeah. While you were out sick, Baum just said they're too good and they're going to repeat.
I don't disagree.
I still think it's wide open and it'll be a great playoff, and also the new blood we can get in here. I mean, to think you can get a South Florida / a Memphis in there, a Vandy, Ole Miss. So you can see a lot of new faces. I'd love to see Texas Tech do it, but I have them on upset alert. A little concerned here going to the Little Apple. This is tough. And 7.5, I think, is too much. K-State now 4-4, playing better ball. This is right there, though. It's right there for Texas Tech. You had the tough loss at Arizona State. Your quarterback, Morton, was out. Morton's back, but now you lose Ham in the backup for the rest of the season. Levitt's out for the year for the Sun Devils. That was a game you had the lead late. You didn't play well. You lost that. But if you beat K-State, you get BYU and Central Florida at home, and then you go to West Virginia. Playoffs right there for Texas Tech. Got to win this game, though. But I think it's too many points.
I think it's a high number as well. The Wildcats back-to-back underdog wins over TCU and Kansas. They've covered 4 straight. 19-6 ATS is a home dog over the last 15 years. Now, I get it. This is a different Texas Tech team. But K-State 12-1 straight up, 10-1 ATS last 13 against the Red Raiders here. I can't ignore the 19-6 ATS as a home dog, the fact that this team is playing better right now, and this number getting bumped up to 7.5. I have a similar feeling as you do on this game. What about Vandy in Texas? Longhorns laying 2.5. 47.5 is the total. 4th straight ranked opponent here for Vandy. Teams coming off of a win over a ranked team and playing another ranked team are only 61-82 straight up, 61-79-3 ATS since September of 2019. That's 43%. Here you go with Vanderbilt now.
I hope so.
The problem is everybody in the world likes Texas from what I'm reading and listening to.
Yeah, it's been smoke and mirrors offensively. The Kentucky game and I mean, in terms of winning. They should have lost the Kentucky game, and they should have lost to Mississippi State. Do us a favor, Vandy. Take them out.
I agree.
I want to see Vandy make the playoff, and just end this for Texas, who still has to go to Georgia and still has to play A&M. So it's just inevitable for the Longhorns. How about Utah? This line went up, keeps going up. They think it was maybe prior the running back out for Cincinnati, but this was 7.5, then 9.5, 10's out there, and then it came back down. But I can't. I like the program, but I can't trust Utah here. And again, Cincinnati's a lot like Houston, the forgotten teams in the Big 12. All the Texas Tech hype, Utah, BYU. No one's talking about these two teams. I think Cincinnati can get Utah.
Yeah, I will point out that when you go back to the summer and the college football betting guide here at VSiN, a couple of people making the case for Cincinnati to win this conference.
Yes.
And it was like 35-1.
Yeah.
I took a little 10.5 at, I think, minus 114 earlier today.
Wow.
But I'm also...
3-point move.
Right, and through the key number now of 10 as well. They've won 7 straight, the Bearcats have, averaging 41 points per game. The problem is I have a really bad history of betting like Utah games in general.
Yeah.
So especially like fading this team when they're at home has not exactly been a cash cow for me over the years. Mm-hmm. But I also just think that this number is out of control at this point.
And plus, Nebraska looks too easy. Right? The numbers come down big. Lincoln Riley, again, on the road against good teams, at least on the road against Central and Eastern time zones. Plus, they lock up Rule now with the extension.
I'll give you a couple of numbers here.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, it's down to 5, right? All the way from 7. You grabbed 7 with the Huskers right away. So the Trojans off their bye, losing by 10 against Notre Dame. They were game, but they lost by 10. Ranked teams off a double-digit loss since November of 2021. You are 51-28-1 ATS and 58-22 straight up. I'll tie this in. The Huskers, last 26 games at home, 7-16-3 against the spread. Not exactly great like it used to be in the 80s and 90s under good old Tom Osborne.
Yeah, I know. I just think I can get, much like the Illinois game, too. I just think USC won't get stops, and Nebraska will keep it close, if not win the game. 4.5s now?
Yeah.
Unbelievable, right? I think these rankings are outrageous. There's not 9 teams in the country better than Miami, okay? I know they had a bad loss, but let's factor in they were awful, got up to a slow start, and Beck threw 4 interceptions. Come on. Plus, Louisville's ranked. What are we doing here? To drop Miami like that in the polls. But SMU has been a major disappointment. They've had some bad losses. How you blew that Wake game's beyond me. You lost at home to Baylor. Right? If Miami gets this, then they should be then 10-1 going into the clash at Pitt to end the season. And I would still say 10-2 Miami deserves to be in. If they lose Pitt, Pitt's offense has been great lately. But they're laying doubles here. I think Miami gets a good performance, and SMU won't do much on offense.
Okay, so no chance for an upset alert here.
No. But we got to stop with these rankings. They're not. It just shouldn't be 10th in the polls.
No,
come on.
I mean, the polls have been.
They had a fluke loss. If that was an SEC team, they'd still be way up there.
This is caveman football we're talking about here. There's absolutely no need. I can't imagine that the single biggest reason for rankings anymore is because, hey, now the public needs to know we have a big game coming up on Saturday because they can promote its number 2 versus number 8, whatever.
And Tim Murray had a good point, too, Mr. Notre Dame. He's like, if Notre Dame's 10-2 and Miami's 10-2, who are you taking? What, I mean, they played and they beat them. So that's going to give Miami the edge as well. But Miami should run the table, though, until we get to the ACC championship game. And who knows, if they even get there. They probably won't even be there, though. Right. Things have to break their way. Looks like Georgia Tech's going to run the table, and maybe Virginia does the same thing, or if Louisville wins out, they could get in.
Coming up in about an hour, we'll go over our best bets for the weekend in pocket plays. I do have a bet on the Oklahoma-Tennessee game. I'll save that for an hour from right now and tell you what it is. Are you involved at all here?
No.
Between these two? Okay. I'll give you some numbers from Steve Mackin and VSiN.com. In games featuring 2 ranked teams since 2017, home teams are 211 and 106 straight up. Dig deeper into the data. You find that when the home team has been ranked better, those teams, 122 and 28 straight up. And one more wrinkle, when the better ranked home teams have been single-digit favorites or underdogs, they are 63 and 25 straight up. and also 66% ATS since 2017. I just, if Ole Miss can do what they did to Oklahoma last week, I think Heupel, I'm pretty safe in feeling that Heupel's going to have a pretty good game plan here offensively.
All right, that's not bad.
And I don't think Oklahoma's going to be able to outscore them.
I think Oklahoma knows it's over, too. Plus, it's like this is an NFL schedule.
I know it is.
Every week you're playing a ranked opponent.
Yeah.
And that's why that's the one thing. You know, and I'll flat out admit it, that my love for this sport has gone down a little bit. And it's not because of the portal. It's not because of NIL. It's not because of what coaches make and these stupid buyouts. It's the super conferences, and how it's also a lot about luck. Who makes the playoff is also a lot about luck. I mean, again, compare who Oklahoma's playing this year to Indiana's schedule last year.
Right.
And how it's going to break year to year with your schedule. If you got 16 teams in a conference, how you determine the schedule and who you play, you get some of the bad teams, you get some of the good teams. Is there a mix? Who do you play at home? Who's on the road? So that's the thing that frustrates me when you look at this, that Oklahoma's got a very good team, but they don't stand a shot.
No, I know.
They're playing 6 straight ranked opponents.
Sure. I'll give you another one. The Wisconsin schedule here, I know everybody wants Fickle out, right? It's been a disaster, and most people thought it was a home run hire.
Uh-huh.
Their schedule, at least the last 2 years, I mean, it's been as difficult as any schedule basically in the country. If you flipped it, and Fickle did not take the Wisconsin job, and they hired Cignetti, and Fickle went to Indiana,
yeah,
I got to tell you, I don't think Cignetti is going to be sitting there with a $100 million contract from Wisconsin, and they're going to be winning 10 games in a playoff team.
Oh, I know.
Right?
Well said.
Because their schedule was so easy at Indiana, and Wisconsin is just like, who's going to win that many games there? It's a gauntlet every single week.
Great job by Caesars. Thanks for changing it during the break. Fairbairn over 1.5, minus 140. Or excuse me, minus 110. Boswell 1.5 over minus 140. Made field goals on Sunday. Thank you, guys.
God, Fairbairn. Got to bet that again.
Again, that 16-3 overrun. Think you know your sports? Start getting paid for it with Better Picks, the daily fantasy sports app, where your sports knowledge turns into real cash. Sign up today. Get free money and no deposit needed. And when you do deposit, you get a 50% deposit match up to $200. Download Better in the app or Google Play Store. Head to better.app, promo code VSiN for your free money deposit bonus. BETR, better.app.
First pitch, Game 6, World Series, a little bit more than 2 hours away, and we will discuss it with the great Matt Vasgersian, MLB Network, coming up. Who does he like? What angles is he looking at? Find out next here on VSiN.
Are you interested in effortlessly growing your Bitcoin portfolio? I sure am. The Bitcoin credit card by Gemini earns you Bitcoin back on every purchase. Use it like any credit card. Buy lunch, gas, or your weekly groceries, and you'll earn up to 4% back instantly in Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos straight to your account. All that with no annual fee, and right now you can grab a $200 Bitcoin welcome bonus. It's the easiest way to start building your Bitcoin stack. Go to Gemini.com/card to learn more. Terms apply. See the link in the description for more information regarding rates and fees.